Hello fellow compatriots, this is your host Ripchon here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Marendar, or like some of you may know him as King, revamp number 2. Now, to go ahead and get the major things out of the way, because this is probably going to be much more longer than I anticipated. I'm sorry for the long duration, but I'll get through it as quickly as possible. First question that you may be having is, do you need the legs in the specific orientation for it in order to walk? That came out terribly, but yes, you do. So you had to position the legs properly in order for it to walk, but you can alter the positions of the legs slightly so that it can either turn to the left or turn to the right. which is something you can do. It can also walk in reverse as well, so it kind of ends up looking like a moonwalk, though. It's not as interesting as walking forward, which is why I only showed it walking forward, because it's not that interesting. But anyways, let's go straight into the articulation of this figure, because it is posable. So when it comes to the legs, you got these pistons here, and you can extend them, and these are basically the main supports for the battery so that it doesn't fall on its back, but you can bend them so that you can have more posability. So the legs, they can go forward about that far, so you got pretty good range there. You know, got a good forward movement right there. It can go back only so much, but with this leg, you could probably squeeze in a little bit more. So yeah, 3 ball joints in the hips, both in the vertical axis and the horizontal, and the Z axis. X axis and Z axis, I think it is. Yeah. Okay, so knees. You can bend them as well. Let me bend this the other way. Actually, I think it would be better if I did that. Yeah. Okay, so you can bend them, but they only bend slightly. Now, keep in mind, you actually have to work with the figure. So if you want to do a particular pose, like a knee bend or something like that, you actually have to move the other joints around in that proper orientation for the pose that you want before you begin manipulating the figure. So that is how you're able to get like a 90-degree bend at the knee, because if you want to have a knee up kind of thing, legs sprawled out, twist of the waist, and gun shooting, you need to, of course, pose all the other joints in order to pull it off. As you can clearly see, so that's how this figure works. You actually had to work the other points of articulation in order to get the particular pose that you want. So you had to work around the figure, you know, you had to work with it instead of forcing it to do something you wanted to do. You actually had to work with it. So you got that. Ankles. You got tilt this far and the other way. And you got, as you can clearly see, forward tilt, which is about that much, and you got backward tilt, which is about that much. So yeah, and this is free moving, but yeah. Okay, so and the legs, they can spread out about this far, so not that much of a full split, sadly. But you know, you can get there. Now the head is on a ball joint, as you can clearly tell. And even if with the light feature, you can go ahead and bend it past it, but then you break the sculpt a little bit because the throw pipe. Now for the arms, you get forward movement and backward movement, and you also get the T-pose. It can hold it, but just a slight movement can give it some give. You can move it up this far. Now the shoulder pads are on a ball joint, and these are on hinges. That way you can go ahead, tilt it slightly up, and then you can have the arm reach all the way up. Again, you had to work with the figure. 90-degree bend at the elbow. Now let's look at this other arm, because it has the function. With the modular flamethrower. So it got forward movement this far and back, you know, just like the other arm. You know, it's pretty standard with what it can do. And it can, as you go up, it tilts back. So you can't really put the arm all the way up in the air, sadly, due to how this works. But you do got a bend at the elbow, which kind of barely goes up to the 90. and can straighten out only about that much before the axle pops off, the piston, whatever. So you don't get that much range, but it can straighten out the arm just enough. You know, you don't need to go too crazy about it. Now, the weapons, they're modular. You can take them out. You got the flamethrower, you got the claws, which plug in the same way. Or you can have the saw blade, which is probably the most interesting one that you noticed. And it just plugs in just like so. And of course, it's friction connected, you know, so you can pose the saw blade however you wish, and then you could just plug it off and call it good. Okay, so that's that. Now, the shoulder cannon. It can move up, it down, and it can go inwards. Now, it can't really go out that far, but you can cheat it a little bit by extending the axle out, and then you can have it out a bit, so that you can go ahead and have him point the giant plasma cannon of murder death towards your general direction. So you can go ahead and do that as well. So this is what it looks like in the back. Because I didn't really show the back. It's a lot more cleaner than his version 1 version. The first version of himself that I did. It's a lot more cleaner, but still you can see the beams and stuff, and you know, the side, it's a little bit better at the side. It's a little bit better. It kind of, the scope kind of breaks up as soon as you go past this point over here and back. You know, I tried to do some touches with it looking like a suit. But yeah, kind of breaks a little bit. Not the worst thing in the world. Let me straighten up his ankles because he's kind of leaning forward a little bit, which is something you can do. Now, LEDs. Let's go straight into LEDs, and then we can go ahead and show like how tall this guy actually is. So, LEDs, they're all stored in the giant plasma cannon. I know, how original. But let me go ahead and adjust the support beams. But you can shove your finger in here, and you press the button. And then there you go. And he's already casting light on the display case, but there you go. There's his eyes. The head can pose while it's on. Doesn't affect anything. Matter of fact, you can take off the mask, and you get plenty of lighting there. It's very bright, as you can see. Even with the lights, you can still see a whole lot. And yeah. Also, the plasma cannon also lights up, as you can tell. It's a little bit weaker than the eyes. Let me go ahead and turn off this. There we go. It looks spooky. The head looks spooky. And that's the plasma cannon right there. But yeah. Now, he does have another feature as well. If you press it at a second orientation, then he blinks. You can get him to blink. Amazing. But yeah, that's about it for Marendar. Let's go ahead and go straight into size comparisons. Here he is compared to a standard Nike build. Holly is gonna get absolutely shredded. There's no stopping him. He can't be stopped. Here he is compared to good guy. He's the Chaddest of Chads. He will be your husband. And this is the guy that will kill your husband. Here he is compared to Granite because he absolutely rocks. And here he is compared to Kopaka, Master of Ice. So you get that comparison right there. Way bigger. Way bigger. He got like a huge size increase from last time. So yeah, he's huge. He's not short. He grew. He's been juicing, guys. He's been juicing it. He's big. But yeah, that is Marendar right there. I hope you all enjoyed, and of course, if you want to go ahead and see more content, be sure to go ahead, leave a like, and subscribe. But anyways, that's about it for now, so I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys! Oh, and be sure to go to Patreon. The link to that is in the description down below. People can watch videos a week early in advance. Yay!